Right, hello again. I've made a start on this, what turned out to be a Model 4 police model Raleigh, which means it has a lot of heavy duty features that I did mention in the last one when I got these out the van after collecting them. A couple of those features were the heavy duty chain. You can see that on the sprocket. I think it's 3/16 inch chain on these. There was the hockey stick chain guard and the plain chain wheel without the Raleigh heron on it. More on that in just a moment. There was also the heavy duty carrier type front hub. Carrier type because it was shared with the trade bikes, the butcher's bikes, etc., with the smaller front wheel and the basket on the front, i.e. heavy duty for carrying those heavier loads. And it uses 1/4 inch ball bearings in there as opposed to the usual, I think it was 5/16 in the front for the ordinary hubs, but certainly 1/4 inch is the same as what's used in the bottom bracket. There are also a couple of other features as well. It must be quite a rare model, this. I don't know how many they sold, but it's a massive bike, and it really, I'm fortunate in that I'm reasonably tall. I'm 5 feet 11 inches, and you can see where I've set the saddle to, and my toes, the ball of my foot just touches the ground when I'm sat on it. So these were really for tall people. Perhaps that's why it was called, well, one of the reasons why it was designated the police model. Because in those days, well, once upon a time, in order to enter the police force as a policeman, you had to be a certain minimum height. One of the other things, because I did find a page in the catalogue that described this Model 4, one of the other things that they made reference to in the description was the use of heavier duty brakes, which, as far as I can tell, just means they use these guides here with a solid band instead of the, if we go over here, instead of those with the cutout band there. So it's just stuff like that. No, I'm not doing a full-blown series on this. The idea is to have a quick turnaround and put it back on the road. That's my main priority. So you can see I've already started on it, dismantling it to bring it back into roadworthy condition. And that's going to entail a full overhaul of all the bearings. First of all, it's going to have a thorough clean, but all the bearings, bottom brackets, etc., dismantle, clean out, repack. Head bearings going to get the same treatment. The forks will have to come off for that. No big deal. And whilst I'm at it, I'm going to have a go at picking the lock as well to try and get the key number, because I've done that with 2 of my other bikes with success. So I managed to get the keys for them in that way, because it is a very useful and desirable feature to have working, is that. So yes, I made a start on it. First thing was the front wheel, just because it's at the front of the bike and it's an easy thing to do. Or it would have been had not one of the cones disintegrated on removal, and it must have been broken for a very long time, because there was some slight score into the cup inside the hub, which unfortunately I can't do anything about. But yeah, the cone, it had broken in 3, and I'd never ever seen that before. Especially, it surprised me the mower with it being heavy duty, so I've no idea what had gone on there, but the other two parts are somewhere on the garage floor. Fortunately, I did have a little box of spare cones, one of which was the right fit. So that cleaned up nicely. I put a polisher on it there, as you can see, and they do work. They are worthwhile if you can stand the slight noise of them catching the spokes. But otherwise, the chrome is very good on that. The rim is also, by the standards of chromed steel, that's 60 years older mower, is also very good. There's no major corrosion, just the usual tracks where the brake blocks have acted and worn away the chrome finish there, leaving the bare steel underneath. They go rusty if you don't use them, and then obviously if they're used in wet weather they also start going rusty. That's why it's best to keep them in regular use, or if you are going to store them, protect the chrome work somehow. But yeah, I did get that spinning nicely. As you can see, it's just falling under its own weight there. Nice and smoothly, so I was pleased with that. That terrible, well, it was unsightly, the saddle it come with. This one that had received it's actually a very poor, very crude repair, and the leather's quite poor. Maybe I can do something with that in future, but I've no desire to do anything with it just at the moment. So I fitted another parts saddle that I've done a lot of work on to make that right, including re-riveting some parts of it there, because some of the original rivets had come adrift and failed. So I've used some bifurcated rivets on it just to bring it back into use, because the hide is actually very good on that. You can just see where it's misshapen there. It should be a lot more tauter than that. It's been splayed out. That's because the adjuster on it was knackered and it wasn't biting on the thread there. So that's something else I had to sort out in order to tighten it up and tension it. What else is there? There's the rear hub. Again, that rear rim, much like the front, that'll clean up very well indeed. There's many years and many thousands of miles left in that. The gears I never touch. I've never had one apart. I've never seen the need to have one apart. I don't honestly know how to take them apart without reading up on it. So I don't want to either. I'm of the opinion that if they work, then leave them well alone. But I'll adjust the bearings, give it a thorough clean, etc. I'll attend to some of this rust. That one's treating. Where are we now? What was I going to say? Something, yeah, about the original paint finish. It's there, but it's poor. There's some traces of lining there, and I did see some gold lining as well. I think that was on the hockey stick. If I just go and fetch that, I mean, it would be nice to have that intact. Plastic. It's here, you see. Gold and red. That's been where it's been protected against the rear seat stay. so that's survived purely because it's been covered up. But the idea with this bike, as with all my bikes, is just to have a good user grade example, something that's in original good condition, mechanically sound, but doesn't have to be cosmetically perfect, but still retains as much of its original finish as possible. If you're going down the route of having the best examples, then they're not something you can use on a regular basis, because one way or another, however careful you are, they're going to pick up some damage or other. So that's where I'm up to at the moment. That's very tight, so there's something wrong there, as I said in the first video, because that adjustable cup, it shouldn't be that far out and it being that tight. So I'm going to clean all this up before stripping it. There's the unbranded 46 tooth chain wheel that'll respond well to a clean up, and we've got the original Raleigh pedals on there, so it can't have done a massive mileage. I mean, they are worn, the rubbers, but it does still have its original rubbers, so it's probably only done about, well, you can never really tell, can you, with bikes, but based on the wear and tear, I'd say I'd be surprised if that's done any more than 1,000 miles, really. It might have done even half that. We'll never know. But a couple of the tools you'd need, and some of these have become very handy. This pedal spanner, it's very, very thin. Ex-GPO look, for when they maintained their own fleet of post bikes. Nice and thin to get into that narrow gap there. Remembering one's a right hand thread and one's a left hand thread, I forget which. But yeah, these will strip down and rebuild again, no problem. I probably won't even have to fit new bearings to them. And that is, well, it's a multi-tool, but that goes on this locking ring there for the bottom bracket, and just a tap with a hide mallet or something will be enough to set that away there to unscrew. Yeah, I did, as you can see, have to take the cranks off, which entails removing the cotter pins. Never an easy job, unless you have a special tool for it. There is a special tool, but I was outbid on one some time ago, and I've never seen another since, but it was sort of like a U-shaped thing that fits over one end, and with a screw thread on that you wind in, and then it sort of pushes the pin out under force, you see. Well, in the absence of that, it's the old time-honoured method of putting a block of wood under the crank to take the shock and support it, and then hammering out the cotter pin with, you know, something in between the pin and the hammerhead, so you're not damaging the pin. And they can take some shifting, they can, if they've been in there for decades, but they yielded, they weren't too bad. So now all I'm gonna do with this, as well as just carry on with that and film anything of note, is just show you a method here of cleaning up tarnished chrome, and that is just steel wool. Now, the severity of the corrosion will dictate what grade of wool to use, but you usually never need any coarser than medium grade. and it's got to be steel wool because that won't mark or scratch the chrome. It's a big no-no to use emery cloth or sandpaper or anything like that on chrome, because it will scratch it and permanently damage it. But the steel wool doesn't have any adverse effects, so you just take that to it and it just brings that unsightly layer of tarnishing off, or most of it anyway. You can see on this one that the chrome has unfortunately been worn away quite a lot, but that will respond pretty well to the wire wool. Same with this, the chain ring there. You see, that's quite a bad area there. So it's just perseverance really, more than anything. There you go, it's starting to look a bit better already. Never going to be perfect because of the nature of the material and of course the age, the functional objects. They were meant to be used in all weathers, and that's just how it is. But as long as it can be made presentable again, which it will, it's going to be a good one to do this, and very soon I'll have it back on the road, which is all that really counts.